Democrats hold candlelight vigils for Jimmy Kimmel. Now, obviously, that is satire. Or was it so obvious? Did you think about it for a second? Did you think, wow, that kind of fits? I'm not surprised by that. I know I did. I had to double check. When that came across my feed yesterday, I thought, it sounds like it's the Babylon Bee, but let me just, yeah, okay, it was. It was the Babylon Bee. It was satire. But let's face it, something like that would not shock us in today's world. That's the state of America. That's the state of the Democrat Party, the various leftist movements, the globalists. They truly do insane things on a daily basis, which is why, cancel culture or not, I don't care. We must stop them being the leftists and the globalists, any way we can. As long as it's nonviolent, as long as it's legal, I am all for anything. Cancel culture, okay, fine. I actually spent some time, a lot of time. I did a little clip about it and wrote a couple of articles about why what we're doing to these various people by calling them out for their hideous, demonic responses to the sad, horrible assassination of Charlie Kirk. Us calling them out was not cancel culture. It's consequence culture. And I still firmly believe that. But now, especially after now that we're witnessing the whole shift to the Jimmy Kimmel narrative, the Hollywood's taken over, trying to defend one of their own. They're leading the charge against us, trying to make us whatever. Now I realize I don't care. Is it cancel culture? Okay, fine. Is it not cancel culture? Fine. I don't care. Any means necessary, as long as it's, again, to be clear, legal and nonviolent. We have to stop them, and I'll explain why here in a second. Quick shout out to the sponsor of today's episode. This is a company that has now been ranked number 1 best overall gold IRA company for 4 years running with money.com. You can check them out. The link is in the description. So ever since all of this started with Jimmy Kimmel, that has engulfed us. Okay, nobody's talking about Tyler Robinson and the extraordinarily peculiar and in many ways suspicious circumstances surrounding him, the days leading up to it, the people around him. It all seems awfully convenient, doesn't it? Including the so-called text messages between him and his furry trans lover. But I'm not going to dwell on that yet. I'm not even going to talk about it at all today because nobody's talking about it. It has been buried. And I think that it has been buried by design. I would argue that the whole Jimmy Kimmel situation is not necessarily a psyop, but a very convenient turn of events that the leftists and the globalists have latched onto as a way to change the conversation. They don't want us talking about all the hideous people. There's still thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of Americans out there who are still being ugly, still being demonic in their responses, the way they're handling the aftermath of Charlie Kirk's assassination. And I know there's probably tens of millions that hated him. And the sad part is the vast majority, could be like 95%, have never actually stopped to listen to what Charlie Kirk has said. These sheeple, they latched onto the notion that, Charlie Kirk is racist, he's misogynistic, he wants to stop gay people from existing, he wants black people to no longer have a vote, he wants all these lies that are being told and believed by millions of people. That's what we're facing. And they haven't even watched them. They have no evidence other than maybe, a little clip they saw on social media taken out of context. It's insane. Okay, my favorite one was when they said, Charlie Kirk is against the Civil Rights Act. And he very clearly, multiple times, explained why he is against the Civil Rights Act in its current incantation. What he said was, look, the notion was nobody should be able to discriminate based upon race. That was the idea of the Civil Rights Act. But the wording was poor enough that now it's been used to basically as a skeleton key to have grievances with anybody. And it has in particular been used by the LGBTQIA community to to have their supremacy rights. That is what's been happening. And Charlie Kirk has explained he doesn't want to get rid of it. He just wants it to be very much more focused. No discrimination based upon race. He doesn't believe in race, or he didn't believe in race. When he was alive, he did not believe in race. He actually argued with somebody about DNA, of all things, explaining how very recently science has discovered that there really isn't a difference. You can't tell the difference genetically between a white man and a black woman. Okay, other than, I should say, a white man and a black man, or a white woman and a black woman, or a Hispanic woman, or an Asian man, whatever. Can't tell the difference. Not if they're isolated. You have to locate the differences based upon comparison, which tells us that, to his point, that there are no real differences between the races. Now, I don't agree with that. I think there are genetic differences. We see the genetic differences. It's not just the melanin in their skin that makes people different. High, low, doesn't matter. There are obvious differences. But here's the thing. Charlie Kirk was such a good guy, such a decent human being, that to him, it really didn't matter. And if he could find a scientific paper that could demonstrate that we just need to look past race. Race isn't important. It's a construct. That was his position on it. And it was a far more beautiful position than mine. I appreciate it. Again, I disagree. I think that as a half Asian, half Caucasian man, that I have certain genetic... No, I don't. I don't really think that. But I do. I know there's differences. But anyway, he didn't. He spoke in ways... He was the most anti-racist person that I've ever heard speak. And if these idiots would actually ever listen to him instead of listening to the people that are hurting them down the road of hatred, they might actually learn something. They might actually learn something. But now we're stuck. It's all about Jimmy Kimmel. Everything is about Jimmy Kimmel. This is a humongous distraction. We're not talking about Tyler Robinson. We're not talking about the hideous people. We're not talking about a lot of things. We're kind of focused on this, and it fits in perfectly with the leftist mentality. Okay? They're able to, number one, they've got their hero, their version of Charlie Kirk. Okay? Granted, Jimmy Kimmel is not dead. He's still rich. He still has his wife and kids to go home to. He still has everything. But as far as they're concerned, he's the bigger victim. Okay? They have been more saddened, more harmed by a rich dude losing his job over a bald-faced lie that was meant to incite people, to mislead people. They're more angry about that. They're more emotional about that than the cold-blooded assassination of a 31-year-old husband and father who was just trying to promote discourse, conversations on college campuses and across the country. That's the state of this party. Which is why I go back to my original premise. Is it cancel culture being used against Jimmy Kimmel? I think it's demonstrably no, because he is, as a quote-unquote journalist, I know he's an entertainer, okay, but he acted like a journalist. He wanted to be a journalist. He wanted to exert his opinion, his perspectives. He wanted to exert that onto his audience, and he did it every single night that he worked. Worked during the day, technically, but you get the idea. He always, every single day, if he was on the air, there was Trump bashing, and then he'd bash the band, and he'd bash whoever. He'd bash Charlie Kirk. And he told a bald-faced lie. This isn't a matter of, it's cancel culture over a joke. It wasn't a joke. Not at that point in the statement. If you watch it, you'll see he was told, I believe he was instructed to help to sustain that false narrative. The narrative had broken out, right? I mean, over the weekend it started breaking out, and people, actually shortly after the identity of the alleged assassin was released, it didn't take long at all for leftist propagandists to start promoting the idea that this was a right-wing conservative. He was one of Charlie Kirk's people. He was MAGA. He was America First. He was blah, 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 blah. Okay? They pushed that hard. They continued to push hard. Once it became very clear, a lot of them dropped off. Once the evidence started coming out, it's like, oh yeah, no. You don't usually see these America First MAGA types, you know, sharing Antifa or even Trantifa style language on their writings, on the actual shell casings. You don't see them texting their furry trans boyfriend. That's just, not a common practice. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying that 99 out of 100 are going to be radical leftists. And as it turns out, Tyler Robinson definitely was. And look, Jimmy Kimmel knew that. He chose to either he chose to perpetuate the falsehood that Tyler Robinson is MAGA, or he was instructed to, and he complied with the instruction to help to perpetuate that false inciting narrative. So is it cancel culture to call him out for it? Absolutely not. But it doesn't matter. If you want to call it cancel culture, great. Still righteous. Still the right thing to do. Here's the thing. On one hand, we have a lot of people, including, I would say, to some extent me, who say, we hold ourselves at a higher standard. We don't engage in the same practices, and a perfect example is when George Floyd died of a drug overdose. It was, cities burning down, people getting murdered, pandemonium everywhere, dogs and cats living together. But when Charlie Kirk was assassinated, not by anything that he had ever done, but just based upon a hatred that was born from irrationality. Some would say mental illness. I would say from demonic forces. When he gets murdered, did you see a whole bunch of cities burning down? Did you see looting and rioting? In that case, fine. I'm all for that. We hold ourselves at that higher standard because we don't want to promote violence and we don't want to break the law. But cancel culture is not against the law. So again, whether you want to call it cancel culture, consequence culture, it doesn't matter. We cannot restrain ourselves based upon fabricated restrictions. Okay, we do this all the time. We, as in the conservatives, you want to call it Republicans, that's fine. Republicans, conservatives, we're like, okay, well, let's be rational about this. We don't want to take ourselves down to their level. You know what? Taking ourselves down to that level is fine by me, and it should be fine by everybody. We need to start fighting the way that they fight. Not necessarily using the exact same tactics. We need to use better tactics, smarter tactics, legal and nonviolent tactics. But we can still engage in this battle because it is a battle, folks. This is it's not a battle against political battle between Republicans and Democrats. It's not a cultural battle between the progressives and conservatives. This is a spiritual battle between good and evil, period. I could not be convinced otherwise because there's so much evidence that this is what we're fighting today. I don't care, if you want to call it something different because maybe you're not a Bible-believing Christian, if you want to give it perhaps a supernatural battle, fine. I don't care. I don't care about cancel culture. I don't care about anybody's beliefs. At this point, we need to get aggressive. We need to go on the attack. When we slow down, when we think, we overthink it sometimes. It's like, okay, well, I can't, just the perfect example, the wall, okay, the wall in 2018. You had Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell convincing President Trump, let's just hold off on building the wall until after the midterms, because if we start funding the building of the wall, if we give you like $6 or $7 billion, that's going to hurt us in the midterms. We're going to lose either the House or the Senate, and so we can't do that, What ended up happening? We ended up losing the House anyway. We didn't get the wall. And then we had Biden, open borders Biden, and we were invaded. I mean, that's what being hesitant. That's what not taking advantage of anything we have, any advantage we have, and also not defending ourselves fervently when we are at the disadvantage. We have to get aggressive. So call it what you will. Cancel culture, consequence culture. No culture, all culture, I don't care. Just start thinking along the lines of how do we expose the evil? How do we fight back against the attacks that are being leveled against us? Okay, I mean, if that means getting law enforcement involved, I only caught it. I was on the phone, unfortunately, when I saw it playing, and I forgot to go back to it. But I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that the girl who defaced the Charlie Kirk memorial, put paint all over somebody had spent hours painstakingly painting this beautiful memorial, and some idiot leftist girl comes over, and I think there were other people involved. They start putting paint all over it, covering it up. I mean, why? Why are you going to cover up a dedication to a man who was just assassinated? What kind of hideous evil does that require? Demonic, again, as I'm still convinced. Well, then, yesterday, again, I didn't get the details, but pretty sure, because it looked familiar, I'm pretty sure that girl got arrested, and like live on a live stream, like she was doing whatever, Twitch or something, and she got arrested. Awesome. Is that cancel culture? I don't care. If you're going online, you're going to social media, and people are like, we can't engage in cancel culture, or hey, that's not cancel culture. That debate is stupid. I'm done with it. Okay, I gave my 2 cents. Okay, I gave it the office. I tried the best I could to explain how it's not cancel culture and how it's consequence culture. Got debated even more as a waste of time. At this point, call it what you will, but we need to do it. We need to level these as many legal consequences as we can. Lifestyle consequences, whatever. Again, 5th disclaimer, legal, nonviolent. Report them. You see somebody being hideous? Let their employer know. Let their whatever. I was about to say church know, but it's not like they're going to church. We are. They're not. Let their school know. I don't care. Let their parents know if it's kids. Just let somebody know. Highlight it. Blast it out on X or TikTok or whatever you're using, if you're using anything at all. And scold them. They have to. The reason we're at this point is because we have not stood up enough. We've cowered. Ever since January 6, 2021, a good chunk of the conservative movement has been stuck cowering, waiting. Sort of like, let's try to find some other means. I don't want to get arrested. I get it. I don't want to be arrested. But that doesn't mean we have to be pansies about it. That doesn't mean, let's get into an intellectual debate about cancel culture versus consequence culture. Let's truly determine. Let's get some experts in. Let's have an analysis. Let's do a podcast about it. I don't care. Just do it. They're going to do it to us. Anything they would do to us, we should do to them. Not necessarily the exact same thing. Again, we won't need to keep it. We still want to keep the higher ground, but we can't hold back because of some misguided, misplaced sense of, we're more patient, we're better than they are. We are, but that doesn't mean that we have to withhold our fury, our counterattacks. If we do not, let's start with if we do. If we can successfully, call it what you will, let's call it teach them a lesson collectively. Is there a chance that they're going to get angrier as a result? You betcha. Is there a chance that some of them will come to their senses? Absolutely. Is there a chance that some of them will just be taught that lesson and they won't do that again? Similar to the lesson that many people, quote unquote, learned or was forced upon them after January 6th. Obviously we don't need an event like that for the left. We need to, the event has already happened. Okay. The event has already happened. Charlie Kirk has already assassinated. Things have been moving along. We're already heading in the right direction. Keep it up. Not just on the positive side. There's plenty of people that will talk about the positive side. I'll talk about the positive side, for example, of having Erica Kirk taking the reins as CEO of TPUSA. Awesome move. Okay. Dedications, people going to church, best move possible. Okay. Anything that, for every soul that is inspired by whatever it is, whether it's Charlie Kirk's assassination, whether it was the responses to him, whether it was just something random that they just felt the urge to pick up their Bibles, to read, to pray, to fast, to go to church. Awesome, I'll take it. That's the best thing we could possibly do. I would actually say, if I had the choice between, let's go after them and cancel them and show them the consequences, or the alternative was, let's get more people to church. Let's keep this awakening that appears to be happening around us. Let's keep it going. I'll take that all day. That's the hands down the most important part. But if we can have both, why not take both? Let's take this awakening and let's deliver consequences to those who desperately deserve it. My friends at Augusta Precious Metals, again, I think I noted that they have been ranked number 1 best overall gold IRA company by Money.com 4 years running. They have a report. It's free. It's instant access. It's not like, you fill out the form and then all of a sudden you got to wait and somebody's going to try to call you to get you. We can't give you the form until we get more information about you. Until we want to personalize it. It doesn't get personalized. It's a lie. But if you do, go to patriot.tv. I forgot the URL. Crap. That was so close. I was doing so well. Control. There we go. Patriot.tv. That's what you get for not doing a scripted read or scripted anything. Patriot.tv/control. Patriot.tv/control. If you go there, you will have the opportunity to get instant access to a 2-minute report. It's not a big, huge guide, just a 2-minute report that will reveal and demonstrate the one step that's necessary in order to take control of your retirement accounts. If you have over $50,000 to invest from your retirement accounts, IRA, 401k, TSP, then please go to patriot.tv/control and get your instant access report immediately. Instant. That's sort of what immediately means. It's funny. I could have just looked on the screen. It's right there. Folks, fight back now. We have the moral high ground. We always do, but this time it's unambiguous. They are supporting and rallying around a rich dude who is still alive, who lost his job because he was spreading bald-faced lies. He wasn't telling a joke. He was spreading disinformation. He was saying that Tyler Robinson is MAGA, and he knew that he wasn't MAGA. Hopefully, I wish I could say everybody knows that he's not MAGA, but here's the problem, and this is why it's so imperative that we do fight back like this. There's idiots, and there's idiots. I know nobody likes on both sides. I'm not using the both sides argument about violence, but I will say, and this is truth, there are idiots on both sides, but the lion's share is on the left. Period. I can take pretty much any conservative out there and ask them what a woman is, and they can actually answer that question. You can't necessarily do that on the left. There's a lot of idiots there. But because there's idiots, there are people out there today. We in our bubbles, we're like, yeah, it's unambiguous, it's crystal clear. It would be insane for any of us to even contemplate the concept that Tyler Robinson is MAGA. We know he's a radical leftist. We know he's a violent, radical leftist, possibly with mental illness, almost certainly demonic in nature, driven by the voices or something. And we also know that there might be other conspiracies surrounding that, but that's a discussion for another day. We know that he was a leftist. But as hard as it is for us to believe, because we have been divided into these echo chambers, there are hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions, maybe even tens of millions of our fellow Americans who, as of this day, if you were to ask them, was Charlie Kirk's assassin, was he conservative, or was he progressive leftist? Was he MAGA, or was he, whatever? There are a ton on that side who, because of the disinformation and misinformation and plugging into the echo chamber, they will say, "Oh yeah, he's totally MAGA." I think pretty sure he was like a staunch conservative, he's like a Mormon, raised by Republican parents. I think his dad was like a sheriff. They have all the information, except for the obvious that we know that they don't know. And it is their fault, but it's not completely their fault. They get lied to by people like Jimmy Kimmel, and that's why. Cancel culture or not, consequence culture or not, whatever you want to call it, I don't care. Keep up the pressure, ramp it up, double down, do what they would do to us. Just stay nonviolent and legal.